All right, getting out all my terrible rolls before we start.
Yeah, perfect.
Ready to make some nat 20s only. Is it too late to change the name of the podcast to nat 20s only?
Already tired of Vibe Proficiency.
That's the future right there.
I mean...
This is a great start. We're doing so well.
Hey, and welcome back to Vibe Proficiency, a D&D podcast about death, shape-shifting cities, and the state of the postal service, I guess. Very thankful to have you back for another episode. Quick housekeeping note, we don't use our Twitter anymore. If you want to follow the show over on Bluesky, we're the same handle there as we were before, at Vibe Proficiency. Have we posted anything yet? No. It's pretty new. Well, I mean, maybe. Actually, I don't know. I'll have probably posted about this episode by the time you're hearing this, so I don't know. Either way, go follow us there and shoot us your thoughts as you listen and, tag us in 100% of your posts or whatever. I don't know. On a more serious note with that, we were kind of talking about doing a bit of a Q&A episode soon. So if you have any questions for us about the game or the show or character lore or just anything, please send them over and we'll start, compiling them so that we can sort of batch record a bunch of answers. All right, I think that's all I've got. Please enjoy what can loosely be classified as a D&D show. This episode is mostly RP this time. Whoops. Okay. All right, thanks again. Bye. All right, ready to do intro stuff?
Yeah, let's do intro stuff.
Introspection.
Good one.
The word of the day.
Give that man some inspiration.
All right, I am Becca. I am playing Mira. She is a tiefling druid. My fun fact for this week is when she was growing up in her little village, there was these tales of this ranger guy who would go out and he would find all these cool animals and come back and tell everyone about it. And his name was Sir Stephen Irwin.
Hell yeah.
Of the Durnal Forest.
Right.
And so, he would just teach everyone in the village about all these cool exotic animals.
I love it.
I did a dumb amount of research onto what class Steve Irwin would be.
I think you're correct, though.
Ranger with an entertainer background.
Yeah.
In case anyone wants to build him for their next campaign.
I mean, I'm not ruling it out.
Can you give us your Steve Irwin voice real fast?
Fun fact about Rebecca. I am a huge Steve Irwin fan.
Yeah, hard not to be.
When I lived in Australia, that was Mecca to me. I'm not a religious person, but that was my place, was the Australia Zoo. So sure. I will not disrespect that legacy by attempting a bad Australian accent. After a year of living there, I had Australian roommates. I lived right in the city. Can't do it.
Guys, make sure to come back to the podcast after the podcast where we all do our Australian accents for 30 minutes straight.
Yeah, horrible accent. Saying shit like didgeridoo.
What?
But you fucking brought it up.
Right.
Yeah, Casey, you go.
I'm Casey. I play Kira, the Kalish Star Monk. Fun fact for Kira is since CAD happened, since he became part of her life, Kira has never sneezed.
What?
Is he just always holding her nose?
I don't know. It's just never happened.
Why not?
Now, is she consciously wow, I've never sneezed, or does she not even think about it?
She's got to avoid sneezing, or he'll rock it out of her nose or something.
No, it's just never happened. It's one of those things that
maybe she's got double the immune system.
How how when you think about blinking or think about breathing, you just do it. Exactly. Now you're thinking about it. See, now you're going to see every single blink. You don't think about it. You don't think about it. And then someone else sneezes and Kira goes, oh shit, I haven't sneezed in what feels like ages.
I'd like to know. She has it down to the second since her last sneeze.
Jesus. Sneezes?
Hate that.
This is the kind of fun fact I'm here for. I don't know if it informs the world in any meaningful way, but fuck, I am not going to stop wondering about it.
Mostly because you're going to be thinking about your breathing.
Rebecca! Why?
I'm just excited to learn. You know how some people are triple sneezers? We'll see what happens when Kira sneezes.
Can you imagine? The first time she sneezes, she's going to sneeze for 2 days straight. It's just not going to stop. or will it be one giant, like, ear-shattering spleeze?
Thunderwave.
We don't have to worry about finding our way out of the Death City. Kira will just sneeze our way out. Just tear up the hole through the planes.
You all grab on and she blasts you off to fly home.
So I can't remember. Did I ever talk about the sword with how it got the writing on it?
No, so. I wonder that every single time you mention it.
Okay, great. Here we go.
The fun fact is I haven't told you guys about it.
The fun fact, I never brought it up. Hello, my name is Tyler. I play Cadmus Lightbringer, the half-orc paladin / warlock. Fun fact for him is that after his father was slain, he took up his father's sword and traveled for a while, carrying that until he came across his mentor that taught him the paladin ways. And ever since he swore his oath, when he woke up the day after making the oath, he had strange orcish writing engraved on the sword.
What does it say?
It says...
wow, that's
that's profound, yeah.
It says words, and if you ever ask me, I'll tell you.
Well, there you have it.
All right. So, I am Kelly. I play Harp. She is a changeling ranger. And it's a fun fact / sad fact.
Ooh.
Harp was actually taken from her home at a really young age. She was supposed to be delivered by her mentor, which I talked about. But on their way there, her mentor kind of liked her, saw that she was just kind of like a fun kid. And she's like, this is wrong. I'm going to keep this kid and raise it on my own, even though we'll probably be on the run forever. And that's the fun / sad fact.
Huh. You know, when you lay it out like that, it's kind of like...
So you were kidnapped.
What was fun about that?
I think you were like double kidnapped.
I was double kidnapped. Well... It's like, the only good thing is that she got a pretty stellar, person. I mean, in my mind.
Not a bad person kidnapped.
Yeah, I think there's a name for, learning to love your captor, but what do I know? You know?
No. Oh, boys. Okay. Well, she's just doing her job, you know what I mean? So, maybe Celia had a change of heart there.
Yeah, the bad person turns over a new leaf when they, unwittingly become a parent to a small girl thing. It's really well-trodden ground. I think you're in good company there.
Yeah. I mean, Harp doesn't think about it too much. She just...
Yeah, probably best not to dwell on it too much.
Yeah, sad life. Moving on.
Hey, Chandler, follow that one.
I already talked about a while back how my parents just abandoned me, so
Yeah.
So we all come from broken homes, at least in D&D.
My mom's still alive, I like to believe. She's just kidnapped.
Oh, we were just about to meet her here. Let me rewrite this.
Oh, no.
My dad is the one that's dead.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Hello. Welcome. Hi. My name is Chandler. Use any of those that you want.
Or all of them.
Okay. We'll see what cuts best.
I play Elwyn Peck, the former pseudo-dragon, now elf again, who is a warlock / sorcerer, or a sorlock, if you'd like. Fun fact about Elwyn is, if you guys remember a while back, I mentioned that he spent a year pretending to be a wizard's familiars because he had a vast library.
Yeah, the perks.
While he was there, he also was looking for a way to turn himself back into an elf. He found a polymorph spell, polymorphed himself back, and then it just immediately reverted him back into a pseudo-dragon.
Interesting.
He's tried it multiple times to turn himself when he's stolen spells from people, but none of it's ever stuck. So this is his first time in a long time that he has been, bipedal.
Definitely.
That's a good use of bipedal.
Thanks. Hey, you don't get to use it a lot.
Not with that attitude. All right. My name is Cory. I'm the DM and all that fun stuff. The fun fact this week kind of has to be about your pets, I think.
Oh, no.
It's just that we haven't really addressed it. They weren't with you, right?
I'm pretty sure.
They weren't on my person.
I don't think we explicitly said they weren't.
Were they? Where were they during the fight?
My thought was that Simon was curled up in a corner or in that tree that she slept in. but I was not fighting with him.
So I thought we had a conversation about you guys like leaving them in the house because you were like reluctant to bring them into battle with you. I'm not sure if that actually made it into the final episode cut or not, but I guess I assume they were waiting for you somewhere around there.
Perfect.
Forever and ever.
Mine's in a cage.
So, yeah, that's your fun, sad fact for today. I'm sure they're fine. Just, waiting patiently by the door for you to come home from a long day of adventuring.
Multiple fun, sad facts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because here's what I'm thinking is that we've already set a precedent of there being a squirrel version of Simon.
Oh my God, you're right.
Wait, there's a squirrel Simon? When did we come up on that?
That is my very first fun fact.
Yeah. It's how she started learning to speak with animals, right?
And that's why I named the snake Simon.
Yeah, throwbacks.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. I wonder what the average life expectancy of a squirrel is.
That's exactly it.
Fantasy squirrels tend to live up to 150, 160 years in the right climate.
It might have like some gray fur. But.
It's totally alive. Let me just erase some more notes here.
He'll have a beard. He'll have a long beard. And he'll walk with a cane.
Yeah.
Think Splinter.
Totally.
He's Splinter. Not
Then we have to fight as kids.
My next fun fact is going to have to, at some point, be when Mira actually became a druid, because it wasn't at 7 years old. And that would determine how old Simon was. He's probably close to like 10 years old.
Damn, that's an old squirrel. That's all I'm saying. So obviously some shit went down last time.
Because we're dead. Were we supposed to rewrite or make our new characters yet?
Yeah, definitely.
Already did.
Third time's the charm, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you all died. Great job, heroes.
Since we're dead, does that count as a long rest?
Some might say it's the longest rest, yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, you get your HP and your slots back to full if you haven't. But hey, we leveled up. So I'm curious how that shook out for you guys.
I can do druid stuff, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay, right.
I think I can probably say it. I'm slightly delaying the full level up until a later point.
Totally.
So it'll come out in game. So I got more hit points. I'm not as squishy, but that's about all I'll say right now.
Rad. Anyone else?
So I took a level in Sorcerer.
Yeah.
The idea behind that is kind of Elwyn trying to learn more magic. He doesn't fully trust his deity. He's not too sure what's going on with that. So he's trying to expand his magical prowess. I also took the Draconic Bloodline origin.
Yeah.
So it's very subtle, but now that he is an elf, and he'll probably look at it at some point, he has some draconic features.
Yeah.
So if you guys look at his skin, it's still kind of scaly. I took the dragon ancestor of a red dragon because Elwyn as a pseudo dragon is red.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got that a little bit of that. No tail, as far as I know. I haven't checked, but
Elwyn, you should check.
Oh, yeah, no tail. Just had to check real fast. And yeah.
Sick. Yeah, we already talked a lot about that, and I love that, honestly. Anyone else have anything fun to share?
I just took a level into Paladin, so now I get extra attack.
Hell yeah.
And got level 2 Paladin spells now.
Sick. Which ones?
I have access to a wide array of level 2 Paladin spells.
Oh, right. Paladins are pretty flexible with their spells, right?
Yeah, I can change them whenever.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I have Aid, Find Seed, Hold Person, Locate Object, Misty Step, Zone of Truth.
That's sick. I'm excited for all that. Kelly, you got anything that you want to share, that is?
So I'm rangering harder, I guess. So my favorite enemy was beasts, and now I have also monstrosities. So hopefully...
So next time we roll up on some Medusas and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I already told you my little theory.
Yeah, you did. I don't know if you wanted to share that or not, but feel free.
I mean, my sort of little thing was that since Antiel was doing his blood magic, right, he's making himself a beefy big bad boy. I thought he might create beefy bad boys that are all I don't know, based off of monstrosities. They are, yes, beefy. And I was like, I can help us if they're gross looking.
Anything that you think is gross looking, it counts?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, you're pseudo dragon. I don't know how cute it was.
But for real, like the monstrosity category contains a lot of stuff that's like traditionally somewhat hard to fight, like mimics are monstrosities, for example.
So you're slowly turning yourself into Van Helsing.
I mean...
Sure.
I mean, why not?
I guess I'm on my way.
For sure.
And then I've also got a better terrain walking style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, favorite terrain, right?
In the Underdark.
Yeah, that totally tracks with your character.
So I just felt like that was more story-based.
Yeah. So last we left off, like I said, you all died, which was a huge bummer. But on the upside, or maybe the not so upside, you all found yourselves wherever it is that Cadmus had been describing from his recurring dreams. Notably, Moira is here with you. Elwyn is in his elven body, not his pseudo-dragon body. And Cadmus' new friend, the Shade, showed up too. They said that the silver lining on this whole death thing is that you have just a lot of time now. And that you could use it wisely, like while helping him out with a few things like you shook hands on. So yeah, that's us up to speed. You're standing in this monochrome grayscale world unlike any place you've encountered before. Think sort of like a big dried up desert, just flat and nondescript for the most part. There's a rippling, shimmery sky, a big ring of mountains just far off in the distance, completely encircling you, and what looks like a pretty large city in the middle of it all. And in the center of that city, there's a tall, jagged tower scraping into the air and breaking up the skyline. What are you all doing as you're coming to grips with the news that Elmec just gave you all? Like, how is everyone grappling with the idea that maybe you didn't survive the fight?
I believe I'm currently crying right now because I am an elf.
You did say that, yeah.
That is canonical.
It is canon, yeah. Canon, it's canon, that's what's happening.
Canon cry.
Canon cry, a CC.
Cadmus, how about you, man?
So as I'm shaking Elmec's hand, I'm going to kind of look around the place and be like, this is a place for my dreams. Where are we? There we go. He has to tell us now.
Yeah, you got me. The smile that's like permanently prominent on Elmec's face is normally quite wide already, but it almost broadens as you ask that. And they lean back from standing, but instead of like falling on his back when the center of mass tips, he just picks up his feet in midair into like a recline with their arms spread wide, pointing to all the nothing around you. And they say, "A very good question, big guy. How about you all tell me? Where do you think we are?"
Elwyn kind of like wipes his tears away and then like looks around. Cool, no one noticed. I cried. It's good. That's his inner monologue. Looking around the space, does this look like anything that was described in my readings of Bahal and Kelapor and all that fun stuff?
Absolutely.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, the sort of, base assumption that the shadow figure over there is being truthful and you really didn't survive that fight with Anseal, that's part of the puzzle. But then with that stuff you read about Kellamvor, you would have learned that he is, he's believed to preside over the dead in a crystal tower overlooking their final resting place. So you're starting to sort of piece it together. This might very well be the fugue plane.
How do you, the what plane?
Fugue, F-U-G-U-E, like the musical term. Or, that thing where you black out and you wake up somewhere else, not really remembering it.
Yeah, fugue state.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, fugue state, yeah, So looking up, Elwyn goes, this is the fugue plane, right?
Yeah, Elmec pulls his arms back in and gives you finger guns and says, "Oh, points for the little guy."
I love it.
And they kind of float over to you, Peck, and they put their feet back on the ground and get eye level with you. And he says, "Or maybe not so little now, huh? Congrats, by the way. It's a good look. But how's it treating you?"
It's weird. It's been a while since I've had my regular body. Are we dead?
Hey, 2 for 2. I like this guy.
Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what? I'm in servitude to you now or something here, now that we...
Oh, gross. What?
Or what's the general vibe? I just live eternity, like, wiping your feet or something.
Cadmus, buddy, no, it's nothing like that, big guy. And he floats over to you and he puts his hands on your cheeks and he says, I thought I told you. We're going to be partners in this, pal. And they let go and they give you a lighthearted little punch on one of your shoulders and say, hey, we can wait to talk shop. We'll play the long game. Gods know we've got the time, huh? And then they let go and float back to the middle of the group to sort of, address all of you. And he says, look, it's really unfortunate, your collective passing, but this is the way things go. It happens to everyone eventually. Well, almost everyone. But hey, you don't want to sit around the waste your whole afterlife, huh? Come on, follow me. And then he just sort of turns and kind of floats off at like a meandering pace towards the city with the spire in the distance.
I will follow.
Do you all go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the 5 of you start off after Elmac as they float away. And Peck, Moira is walking a few paces behind you in the back of the group, and she hasn't said a word since you all came to.
Moira, how are you taking this?
She says, I've lost a lot of people, and normally there's sort of a handful of stages to grieving, but I don't even know where to begin grieving for myself. I might be so fully in denial that it's just not even registering as a problem yet.
Oh, same. I'm just suppressing that for now. I'm sure we have all of eternity to go through this, so I'm just going to...
Sorry, I wasn't paying a lot of attention, but I saw you crying back there. So I know you have your own shit to deal with right now. Gods, I don't even know you, and I'm dumping all this on you. Sorry, I'm Moira. And she puts her hand out towards you.
Oh, when we know each other?
Yeah, when you say that and it clicks for her, it's like you can watch her snap back into the forefront of herself, right? Like her focus was mostly internal until you say who you are. And suddenly, like all the gears are turning and she's looking you up and down, like she can somehow find the answers to her, rapidly growing pile of questions somewhere on your person.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't always like a dragon person. I think we skipped over that at some point. I got turned into it by the Solaria person for like 5 years, and now I guess that I'm dead. I guess that her magic doesn't hold.
About halfway through your explanation, that inquisitive, analytical look slowly fades, like it's just too much work to keep trying to understand. And she says, sure, that sounds about right. I mean, and she gestures to the nothing all around you and the city in front of you. And she says, if this is all actually happening and are we really here? But you being an elf has to be the least weird thing going on, I guess. And you two, sort of walk in silence for a couple minutes before she kind of cracks a smirk and she says, thanks big time for asking me to join that fight. It went super well.
Yeah, sorry. Listen, I thought it was going to go better, but some great deity in the sky murdered us. It's definitely not our fault. It's definitely it's Kellampor's fault. That it's his fault.
She shakes her head and she gives a little laugh and she says, you fucking idiot. And she balls up a fist and just softly hits you on the chest with the side of it. She just carries on next to you in the back of the group. It's a long walk, but for as much as you'd expect your feet to ache and your legs to need a break, they don't. But even though you're not really feeling the effects of a long journey in your muscles, you're sort of feeling them in your minds. Like on top of whatever thought process you're going through, reconciling what happened in the clearing of the forest earlier, it's like your minds are playing tricks on you. You can't easily get your bearings here. Like the mountains seem to be in a slightly different orientation every time you look at them, even though they're static and still under your gaze. And the city itself, well, it's too hard to see any detail from this distance, but every time you look up from the ground to see how much progress you've made, it's like you're looking at another skyline entirely. Nothing makes the most sense here. But you all keep moving through the flat, monochrome expanse, just following the shade towards the city.
I, just in the sense of just trying to feel physical objects to prove this is real, and seeing that, I'm gonna kind of rub my thumb against my other palm and pull back and try to produce a flame in it.
Okay, yeah.
And using that flame, try to thaumaturgy change the color of it and shift it.
Yeah. So you conjure the flame in your hand and you examine it. You'd expect that the flame is something like, pale yellow at its core, then yellow, orange, red as the heat dissipates out towards the edges. But all you see is shades of gray. It's just value, no hue. And as you shift the color of your flame with thaumaturgy, again, you just can't see the hue change, but you get slightly different grays each time.
Huh.
Yeah.
Try not to freak out. That's okay. I just keep the flame in my hand and try to roll it around just to keep feeling the heat of it and feeling something physical.
Yeah, trying to ground yourself with the familiar sensation, yeah. But, after a genuinely long while, you're close-ish. Close adjacent, maybe. And they keep floating at a walking pace towards the city, but Elmec turns to face you, Cadmus, and he says, "Sorry about the walk, by the way. I didn't really expect you all to get dropped so far back normally people show up next to that real big gate over there." And they gesture over their shoulder to where you're all just now starting to be able to see detail on the city in the distance. And sure enough, the closer you get, the more you can tell there isn't a door or a gate per se. It's just a big open archway on the city wall. And he turns back to keep leading on for a while. And eventually he says, "So which one are you seeing right now?" And they kind of point to the skyline of the city and say, "For me, it's kind of old looking, very square and, stony." And Cadmus, if Elmec is talking about the city itself, you get the sense that they're not seeing the same thing you are right now, because that's not at all what you're looking at.
It's very organized. The buildings, they remind me a little bit of where I came from. They're kind of thatched like the village I was brought up in.
They say, "Oh, I think I know the one. Yeah. They're all kind of nice in their own way, I guess, but who can keep track?" And the rest of the party, what Cadmus is describing, that's also not what each of you sees. There's something about this place that causes you all to see something different when you look at it.
Elmec, are there other beings here?
He says, "See, this is what I'm talking about. You're a riot, pal." This guy points at a whole city and asks if there are other beings around. Where else do you think they all go?
Shadow guy person.
They appear in the air next to you and they say, "Yes, elf guy person?"
So if we're dead and we have our stuff, are our bodies and stuff not still up there?
Oh, big time. Well, as much as they can be after that fire, am I right? And they clap you on your back.
So what? This is weird, right? This is weird, right?
Is it weird or is it just new to you?
Do we have a second life here?
It wasn't always that way, but yeah, more or less.
Does everyone come here when they die?
This guy, he goes straight for the big questions, and I respect it. Let's put it this way. Everyone from the material plane comes here, and he sort of gestures around you at everything, but not everyone goes here. And you can see what looks like finger quotes as they say that. And they go, it's really hard to nail down what here is sometimes. It's like this. There are many, many cities, but only the one spire. No matter how you look at it, that's always there. He's always around. That's kind of the gig, right? But all the cities exist and don't around it at all times. Back when I got here, things were different, but then Kellenvor moved in. A lot less brimstone and a lot more whatever this is. I'm sure it doesn't make a lot of sense, but you'll get it when you see it, I think. Speaking of which, and they kind of raise a shadowy hand up to their ear like they're listening towards the city, and you're all beginning to hear it now too. The sounds of civilization. And they say, hey, I think this is as far as I go, huh? Head inside, get acclimated. I'll be around and we'll talk soon, I'm sure. And I'll have my people reach your people, babe. And then they give you a wink and they sort of dissolve, just leaving you to walk the rest of the way yourselves.
I simultaneously love this guy and hate this guy.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
I did too.
This is just a side note, but I have spent the time in between these sessions really thinking about who this entity would be with the creepy spot, and this is a totally different energy than what I was
expecting.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. It's great. I keep having to remind myself,
man, I would have made this pact a long time ago if I knew this is who I was getting in with.
But being left to your own devices, you all head through the large archway in front of you. Whatever the city looked like to each of you right before you walked in, as you're passing through the arch, things appear to like shimmer and shift around until you're seeing something different entirely. You're pretty sure you're all seeing the same thing, finally, at least in your immediate vicinity. And it's huge. The city in front of you is vast. Just tall, sturdy, beautifully made, monochrome buildings as far as the eye can see. Banners bearing the dark gray scales that you've come to know as the symbol of Kelemvor line this main walkway, and they lead far into the center of the city where they terminate in the large spire you'd been seeing from outside this whole time. And up close, the silvery glint of the thing is even brighter than it was before. And you can see that it's translucent, like glassy, almost crystalline. And it's so much taller than it seemed from a distance. And there are lots of people here, too. They sort of seem to fizzle in and out of view as they go, crossing through the streets, talking to each other, laughing, haggling with vendors, carrying deliveries, making plans to meet each other later. It's surreal, given where you are right now, but everyone's just living.
I'm too nervous to look for people that I really, really know, like close to me. But part of her, out of the side of her eye, is looking for Sir Stephen of Irwin.
Sir Steve.
Just see if he's there. She'd really like to chat with him.
Finally get that autograph.
Yeah. Do you think this is forever, or do you think there's a way back?
I think we can all agree we need to find Kelemvor. He said the spire. And this is Kelemvor caused everything that happened to us.
I
think we need to go talk to him.
Don't think I agree with that, but
It was Kelemvor's crown. It killed Mildry because she wore it. He caused this. And maybe indirectly, but he needs to answer for this.
I don't know that going to an ancient being and propositioning that would get us out of here, but I do agree that we need to.
I don't know if it can get us out of here. I assume we're here for the rest of forever. I mean, that's... I don't mind staying as an elf. You guys don't... It's not great being a small pseudo-dragon. Sorry, what were you saying?
Hey, Kira's been really quiet. Presumably because of the chat Casey and I had right before we started recording. How is she handling the whole being alone in her own head thing? And, seeing again?
I think at the start of it, as soon as we got here, all the while, Elmec was talking. Kira was listening, but I think halfway through his "Hey, how's it going? I'm a bro" speech, Kira started realizing that there's no other voice. So she's, snapping her fingers next to her ears, seeing if she can actually hear, even though she's listening to Elmec speak. She's not actively listening. She's just stunned because she's not seen in 30 years with her own eyes, and she can no longer hear Cad in her head. So I think she's breathing a sigh of relief.
Sure, yeah. And obviously, I don't want to erase the fact that she's blind. That's like a core pillar of who she is and how she's navigated the world for, like you said, like 30 years. It's an important feature of this character, and I don't want to negate it. But if Cad was your vision, for lack of a better term, without him here, I just truly don't know how to mechanically rectify that for the time being. And you and I can work on something more permanent, right? But here, right now, you can see like you used to be able to when you were a child, but you're really out of practice, right? It's not going to come naturally to Kira, I don't think. Like you're a bit shaky with it right now, but you're doing all right, walking through the city and trying to make out some of the shop signs and stuff. Luckily, you don't have to brush off your childhood reading skills too much right now because a lot of the shops have just large window displays and you can easily tell what they sell. Food there, books there, animals there, etc.
Do you guys want to get some dead pets? Some skeleton pets now?
No.
The pain slowly goes into Mira's heart, realizing kind of like instinctually, she puts her hand to the horn and the other one, and then on her forearms, and then on the staff, and realizes Simon's not there, and just kind of panics. Because it's the first time she's put it together that, oh.
Yeah.
I have the Elwyn has like a similar like, oh shoot. It looks around. Is there like any civilians?
Yeah, there are people all over for sure.
With a very judgmental look, I look for the smartest. Whoever looks the smartest to me.
Sure, you find, I don't know, a person with glasses on, I guess.
Which means they must like to read. So I'm gonna. Also, side note, since I was like naked as a dragon, what am I wearing? Am I wearing like the clothes that I had before I was turned into a dragon?
Matrix rules, right? Like you look like your mental projection of who you are to you, right? Like as much as Kira relied on Cad for sight, she like hates him and doesn't see herself as him. She sees herself as the person she would have been without him, and she wouldn't have been blind without him. Right?
Yeah.
So for you, Peck, you look like what you believe you look like, whatever that is right now.
Yeah.
But I presume that very fancy clothes are involved.
Oh, absolutely. Like very nice, much nicer than I actually have like money for, but I gotta look for it. So I reach into my pocket and I pull out my reading glasses that Elwyn has for when he's reading,
Naturally.
as the title of the glasses suggests. And I put them on before I walk over to the person. And I go over to them. I go, oh, excuse me. Hello, fellow dead person. How are you?
Let's roll for this NPC. I have no idea who this person is. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So the rest of you watch Peck walk up to this human man wearing glasses and start talking to him. Peck, he tips his obnoxiously feathered hat toward you in greeting. And he's got this look on his face like he'd rather have passed you by, but you're kind of in his way right now.
Yes. Myself and my friends, we are new to this place. We didn't really get a full welcome tour. Our tour guide had to pop out. Do you know where we might be able to find some more like knowledge about where we are? Like, well, I don't even know what the name of this place is.
Sure. What exactly would you like to know?
I turn and I wave everyone over.
Are you?
As he jogging over.
Yeah, I got that.
Probably like a like multiple questions, but let's start with yes. What is the name of this city?
I never bothered to learn it. I'm just passing through this one. I live in the Nyridge instance.
Oh.
New, I take it? How's that treating you?
Not processing right now. I feel like that's time to process later. Just, out of curiosity. While we're moving in time down here, does the people above us in the normal plane, do you know if time moves at a similar movement time?
He kind of pushes up his glasses again and he says, actually, the planes aren't stacked vertically. They're sort of like...
Well, I imagine if it's a plane system, I imagine the planes are stacked on top of one another. That's how I've always pictured it.
From the primary school illustrations? The dinner plates explanation?
Big old dinner plates. That's how I've always pictured it. Unless this plane is on the top.
Surely you can't be serious, though.
I'm sorry. Do you not know who I am?
One of those flat planers from the sound of it.
Good sir. I am Elwyn Peck. Chosen by Zalaria. My good sir. Do you not know how long have you been dead down here? How long have you been dead here?
Excuse me?
Well, no, I'm just asking, because you clearly haven't seen the books that I've written where we have actually found out that the planar system is stacked like plates. Clearly you haven't seen that.
No, I'm sure.
They're not flat. They're definitely round, but they're stacked.
And I'm sure it's a very compelling read, Mr. Peck. But if that'll be all, I really must be on my way now.
No, wait. Can you answer that question? Is time moving at the same time? Do you know, good sir?
He gives the group of you like a curt little half bow, and he says, I might suggest you consult one of your fascinating books on the subject, Mr. Peck. And then he just strolls away.
I, through secondhand embarrassment, step 15 feet away from the group and cast a darkness and just hide.
I turn to the group and I put up my hands. Guys, you didn't back me up.
I'm still in darkness.
You should have backed up my books.
Elwyn,
yes.
Even in death, you have not changed.
I think I've changed quite a lot. I'm much taller now.
That's true. You're not throwable anymore.
I am not.
Well. There's an 18.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
Don't
18
touch me.
bicep.
He does have 18 bicep, though, is the thing.
I kind of size him up a little bit.
Don't you dare.
What's the worst that can happen? We're already dead.
No, don't. Cadmus. Don't.
Can I, out of curiosity more than anything else, can I change or am I stuck as me?
You haven't tried yet.
Okay.
What would you change into right now if you wanted to?
Calimpore.
No way. I refuse. Then she tried to go into her regular village girl thing.
Yeah, sure enough, you look down and you're how you'd expect to look right after you change shape. Just minus the color. Still grayscale, like everything else.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. I just want to make sure I could, I still had my looks.
Did you go, is your normal village girl look Arwell or no?
Whatever your Arwell, Elwyn hates you.
Which is why I use it more. No, I mentioned it one time in a fact. It's
yeah,
just...
I think plain villager predates Arwell as a disguise for her.
Yeah.
I think it does too. I just didn't know if that overtook the standard.
She really liked Arwell. She didn't see a problem with her, so she just kind of stuck to it. Plus, if she wanted to blame something on anyone, she would just use Arwell.
Fair enough.
Seeing you change over as well, Harp, while we're taking stock of everything and figuring out what we're going to do, I just... I hold on to the blade and give it to you handle first. This was Arwell's. I kind of took it from her, but I think you might be able to use it more. It's a dagger.
Oh.
So now you have two.
Man, smooth move, Mira. Thanks.
Yeah, I thought it would come in handy, but it's not really my style. And I don't know what to expect here. You might not need it, but just in case.
Listen, we're not staying here. I have decided that, and
I'd like to agree with you, but I don't know.
We're not staying here.
Should we head to the spire, or does someone else have an idea for how we should proceed?
I think at least speaking to Kellenvor might give us answers of what we can work towards. I don't know.
I mean, are we even sure he'll see us?
I mean, it's worth a shot to go knock on the door and be like, "Hey there, can we set up a meeting?"
He's a really busy guy, you know. Like,
what
all
else
these,
are we supposed to do?
You like to read? Why don't you go to a library or something? All right, nerd.
I start walking towards the spire.
I take a D4 of damage.
Psychic damage.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's so hurtful. Damage happens. Words hurt sometimes, you know.
Is it the lack of scales?
No, I still have those.
Oh, okay.
They're just slight.
Oh, okay. It just penetrated right through.
Oh,
So sorry.
Well, maybe I will go read something, but I won't share it with you.
Oh, that's all right. Okay.
Kira, is Cat still in there?
No, he's. I don't know where he is.
And do you think maybe he's still on the other side?
No, he can't survive without me.
I mean, your body is still there. He could have taken it over. We've seen him do that before.
I don't think so.
What if he joins Anziel?
Well, then we better stay here.
It's a good point. Good point.
Yeah, we left Fort Crescent in bad shape. I mean, Anziel has more power now than he did before we fought him. And if we're gonna be here and can't save ourselves, maybe we can figure something out to save everyone else. I'd like to try to speak with Hildre. I mean, if we're here, I can only assume she would be too, but I don't even know where to begin with finding her. All I know is we have the spire in front of us.
She died a long time ago.
She did, but
That would be a good place to start, is Kellenvor. I mean, again, his crown is what caused her death. Maybe he might know where she is.
I don't know.
I mean, he is supposed to be god of death or afterlife. Like, I would have to assume he might know where they are here. We could at least ask that. or ask what we're supposed to do. Like what do we do here? Just go on like normal, pretend like none of that up there ever happened?
He's helped us once before.
Yeah, I'll just stand in the back. You guys can say hi.
Harp, do you not like Kellenvor?
I mean, here's the thing. I've posed as him a couple times. I don't know if, he's got a funny
you
bone.
didn't do anything bad when you were posed as him.
Some would think that's flattery.
Yeah.
I mean...
Here, turn into Cadmus real fast. Look like Cadmus.
He kind of flexes.
No, I'll save that one for another day. Who's going to lead the way?
Yeah, I'm going to turn and walk to the spire. I'll keep an eye out for Fan as we walk. Maybe we can bring the whole party back together.
Okay, you all continue on towards the spire in the center of the district. Your walk it's mostly uneventful. Just the oddity of watching people sort of phase in and out, just carrying on with their day like nothing is wrong. Like to you, this is a bizarre and life-altering afternoon, but to them it's just an afternoon. But you finally make it to the large steps and ramps leading up to the massive doorframe at the front of the tower, and it strikes you as a bit odd, honestly. Like if Kellenvor really is in there, like you're hoping, it does seem odd for the ruler of this place to just have a permanently open door.
Are there guards that guard this place?
There are not.
I walk up the stairs and open the door.
The empty doorway?
Yeah, the empty doorway. I thought you said there was a door. I walk through the open doorway.
Okay.
I just walk just a little bit ahead, like wide-eyed, staring at everything, looking around, in full amazement.
Yeah, it's ornate as hell. Not like in a gaudy way or anything. It's just like you've never seen anything like it, Nowhere in your life have you ever seen material so clear and clean and big. Like panes of glass just don't come this big. Before seeing it, you weren't even sure that glass or crystal or like whatever this tower is made of could even be worked into shapes like this. And as you walk through, taking in all the new sights, in the corner of your vision, there she is, walking up and waving at you. It's Hildre. And you maybe excitedly turn to greet her, but when you do, you realize it's not Hildre at all. It's just a vaguely similar-looking woman. Just like all the times you thought you've seen her since the night at the plaza when the paladins couldn't heal her. But the halfling woman approaches with a kind smile and she says, "Hello, welcome." And she puts a hand out to shake yours.
I slowly put my hand out and say, we just arrived. I don't know.
Can we pencil in? Do we have to take a number? How does this work?
Oh, if you're looking for information, I can help you with just about anything you need. I'm happy to assist.
We left the material plane in not the best of ways, and I think people still might be in big trouble.
She gives you a small but warm smile, and she says, "I know this is a big adjustment. It always is. But you're not alone. I think I understand what you might be feeling right now, but I promise things will work out how they should in the end."
We were hoping to speak to Kellenvor.
Oh, guys, I know what it is. They've never dealt with main characters before.
Listen, I again, not to be presumptuous, but it might help if he knew that we're the ones who were trying to get the crown of the Forgotten One.
And I minor illusion it.
She looks at it a moment and looks up at you with a sort of uncertain look, and she says, I'm not really familiar with. I really do want to help you. It's just
it's urgent as it can be.
Say a 7 on a 1 to 10. A 10 if we don't get to see the big man.
Yeah, we'll take any brunt of blame here, but it's imperative we see him.
She looks back and forth between the two of you, just like studying your faces, and she kind of smiles a tight-lipped smile with these kind eyes, and she nods and says, "Okay." And she steps to the side and gestures to another set of stairs and ramps leading upwards into the tower. And she says, "I'll be right over here when you get back, okay? Stop by before you go." And she points to this smallish halfling-sized pedestal with a big book on it.
What's your name, by the way?
Oh, it's Peony, like the flower.
Nice to meet you. I'm sure we'll have a wonderful conversation after we have a wonderful conversation with the K-Man.
She nods and smiles and waves you towards the steps. And as you climb them, just spiraling up into the large building, occasionally you look down at the first floor below, just glancing straight through the clear floors. You can see Peony talking to Moira, who stayed behind, and she's like writing something down, transcribing it from that big book. But eventually you find yourselves at a very large door. Clear and see-through, just like everything else around here, but it's really decadently carved with so many small details and little embellishments that it's not very easy to see the room beyond, but you get the impression that it's like throne room status.
Is there a door, or is this also an open?
Yes, Chandler, this one has a door.
Listen, that's why I gotta be sure. I gotta be 100% sure, you know? Okay, I'm knock on the door.
You knock on the door, and on its own, it begins to open. And
did I get through my whole knock?
I mean, how many times did you knock?
Dun, 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 dun. Like, did I get through that?
Yeah, you finish your little 2 bits, and the door opens inwards, revealing this exceptionally long room, just replete with beautifully carved columns and accents. The ceiling is just a sea of etched swirls and flowing lattice work, and the whole space is just radiant, is the only word that comes to mind. And a just colossal throne sits on a raised dais at the end of the room, and you remember the vision of Kelemvor that you saw in the underground temple being large, but the scale of this throne is like, I mean, you could all lay bedrolls on the chair back and sleep on it with like a comfortable distance between you all easily. Between that and the room itself being such a spectacle, it takes you a good 10 seconds to notice the man at the side window looking out over the city. He's certainly a good foot or so taller than Cadmist, but he's not nearly as big as the massive throne would imply. It's Kelemvor.
Ooh.
He's just like you remembered seeing him before, but he's not translucent this time.
Give him a little wave. Hello there. Good and powerful Kelemvor.
His gaze doesn't leave the window, but the corner of his mouth sort of turns up into a smile, and you hear him speak for the first time. And his voice is, I don't know, it's maybe softer than you expected, but somehow it really fills the space with ease. There's this power to it, authority. And he says, Elwyn Peck.
Yes, that's me.
He gives a soft laugh, not breaking his attention from the window. And with your passive perception, you all get the inkling that he's looking sort of through and far, not at something here in front of him necessarily. And he tucks a grayed lock behind his ear and he says, it's good to finally meet all of you in person and to be able to speak with you, no less.
And I walk in. We just wanted to, have a chat, as you do.
He laughs a silent laugh and he says, please come in, all of you. There's no need to stand out there. And as you do, the door slowly closes behind you. And he says, I do want to be clear, Elwyn. The crown isn't mine, per se. Mine to protect might be more apt. It was hidden away in my temple long ago by followers of mine, attempting to keep it from ever being used again.
Yes, that's what we were trying to do. So, in a way, we're doing what they did, and it caused us to die.
I think what we're trying to figure out is we tried to stop what Anseal was doing, and we were ill-prepared, and I fear that we might have aided his plot by us ending up here. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I want to stop this. We've lost so many people, and I don't want that to happen to the entire town. And we're coming to you for help.
He closes his eyes for a moment, and it hits you that he hasn't blinked yet since you first laid eyes on him here. And when he opens them, that faraway look is gone, and he finally turns to you all. And he nods at you, Mira, and he says, and what might it be that you're looking for from me?
I'm sorry would be kind of nice. I would like that.
Do you say that in character?
Absolutely.
At this point, Mira, it's like that slow pan staring at Peck, about to, if she had a silence spell, this is the when she used it.
I mean, listen, I've had my run with gods not liking me, turning me into things. And we tried to help you, tried to help, your people, all that with the crown that evidently wasn't yours. And I feel you kind of caused my death. I've read a lot about you, Kelemvor, like the whole stuff with Baal, great stuff. Loved all of it. You got rid of him, and then he's kind of coming back with Anziel, and then we wanted to stop that, and trying to, emulate you, and then we died. So yeah, just a sorry would be nice.
We just wanted to do what we thought was right, and again, not to speak for everyone here, I don't need to go back, but I want to right what we did, and I will do anything to right what we've done. Or couldn't do.
But we're not really supposed to be here. We were doing it right. We were doing the right thing. So we shouldn't be here.
Kelemvor shakes his head and smiles, and he says, Harpa, I think I know what you're grappling with right now. It feels unfair that you were in the middle of something you thought was noble and good and right, but you died anyway. And that's not how we picture things going. Those who do good aren't supposed to be struck down by those who don't, at least not in the stories we tell. But sometimes they just do. But Harp, fair isn't some calculation based in morality. Fair doesn't intervene based on how many noble deeds you've done. Fair it's just that. Impartial. And sometimes things just don't go the way we hope they will. And I wish I could be sorry about that, for your sake. And then he just sort of interlaces his fingers and looks at you all. And his dark eyes are piercing, but not unpleasantly so. And after a moment, he nods and says, why don't you come with me? And he starts walking towards a door near the just impossibly large throne.
And I follow.
Same.
Let's go.
Yeah, he leads you through this door on the back wall that, like opens up on its own as you're all walking towards it. And he leads you through a long hallway, just as crystal clear and ornately carved as the throne room. And he stops at an open doorway, taking a moment to, drink in the contents of the room beyond. And then he steps inside. And you all could kind of see them through the walls before, but when you round the corner into the doorway, they're much more clear. There are 3 sort of crystalline plinths on a raised platform at the back of the room. Each one has a dark velvet cloth neatly draped across it. And on top of 2 of those 3 pedestals are these gilded, opulent skulls. And the third is empty, but it's pretty clear that one was intended to be there too.
I'm gonna just grab one of them.
Wait, really?
Yeah, just wanted to see what it was. Just wanted to look at it.
You walk up, you reach out to touch it, but before you can get close, Kelemvor says, I wish you wouldn't.
It looked interesting. It looks like there's a place for a third. Just kind of trying to look and see what it is. Look, Kelemvor, you know I'm all about learning, right? I even have a book with you, and I pull out my book of Kelemvor's teachings. Look, I've been trying to learn all about you. Now I get first-hand knowledge.
He says, I understand, Elwyn. These are actually what I wanted you to see. And he gently picks one up in one of his broad hands, and he looks at it for a moment, and he says, I wasn't always a god. Before all of this, I was actually a lot like all of you. And this place, it was different, too. It belonged to another. He was the final adjudicator, custodian of the dead, the scribe of the last records. And he grew tired of it all. But luckily for him, 3 mortals rose to challenge him for the station that he had become wary of. Bane, the tyrant, Miracle, the necromancer, and Bahal, the assassin. They wanted to destroy him and take his divinity for themselves, but he gave up willingly and simply asked which of them would rule. Of course, none among them would concede. It was decided that they'd compete in a game of skill to decide. The scribe plucked the skulls from his 3 most powerful liches and instructed the mortals to just roll them as far as they could. The winner would become the most powerful among them, claiming his divinity. And he kind of laughs and he puts the skull back on its velvet resting place. And he says, even in those days, he was not without his humors. Ultimately, though, another intervened during the contest and took the skulls. You might have noticed one of them is still missing. Eventually, though, they all just left it to chance. They played a simple game of knucklebones and divided his divinity between all three of them. I'm sure you're all at least peripherally aware of what became of them.
While he's saying that, I pull out the book that I have on Bahal, and I go, yes, I read it all in here.
He smiles and nods, and he turns back to the 3 pedestals and the 2 skulls, and he looks at them for a long moment, and he says, the 3 split their divinity in such a way that they all had a hand in death, in this place. And when mortals arrived here at the end of their lives on the material plane, they were judged, weighed, measured. The way that they lived their first life determined the kind of afterlife they'd receive, if they were to receive one at all. When I found myself the new keeper of this domain, I was at a loss, to say the least. Mortals kept arriving and waiting for their judgment, but I couldn't seem to do it. Who was I to decide what made a person worthy of an afterlife? And he brushes a small speck of dust off of the empty pedestal for a moment. And then he says, before death was mine, I was just a man. And not always a good one. I'm not positive that I'd have been judged kindly myself. I chose a different path than my predecessors. I transformed what once was a terrifying appraisal of a mortal life into this. And he gestures to the window in the hallway and the city beyond it. Something impartial. And he turns back to the skulls and he says, I keep them here as a reminder. Death isn't a contest of skill or morality or deeds done. It's fair. And he turns to you, Harp, finally circling back to your comment from the throne room, and he says, doing what you feel is right in life doesn't preclude you from coming here. Everyone does, sooner or later. And I understand that accepting that is difficult. But that's my role here. I guard the impartiality and the fairness of death. I know that you don't feel you're supposed to be here, Harp, but be honest with yourself. Is the mortal life you had better than the one you could have here? And then he beckons you to follow him again, back the way you came. And after a long moment of walking in silence, he says, but I am curious now. What would you even do if you could go back?
Learn more, know what we're dealing with. I think we were so eager to protect ourselves and everyone around us, we didn't think about the ripple effect and things bigger than us.
Well, Kelimvor, we want to right the scales. Anziel, he will continue to take and to take and to take. Is there not some way we can, maybe now that we're here in this place, can we prove our worth to you to show that we can right the scales for you?
He smiles and he kind of sighs and he says, Elwyn, I'd like to believe there's a world in which the sort of thing you're describing could take place, but I'm not entirely sure we're in it. And even if I wanted to send you to the material plane, it's not quite as easy as just deciding it. Traversal between your plane and this one is, well, a one-way affair, mostly.
Kelimvor, I'm very interested to learn more from you. As much as I want to go back, I want to learn first and foremost.
He smiles and he says, I'm sure your thirst for knowledge wouldn't go unquenched in this place, Elwyn. And I'm sure we could have a few discussions about the history of this place if that's what you want to learn. And truthfully, I'd be interested to talk to each of you individually. And he gives you a smile, and the door to the top of the stairs opens back up in front of you. And he says, for now, maybe it would help if you went to see the homes that have been provided for you by this place.
That's very gracious of you, and we appreciate your time. And I do mean whatever we need to do to right this, whatever service or no, we're sincere.
He smiles a warm smile at you, and he says, Mira, I know. And he gives you all a small bow of his head, and he turns back towards the throne room.
I'm watching that archway where Kellenvor's walking into just silently and staring at it until everyone kind of moves on and I realize that like I'm awkwardly staring. And then once I realize that, I'm going to follow to the desk.
When he's out of earshot under my breath, I just go, he still never said sorry, but I suppose this is something.
I have to disagree with you. I think we're the ones who should be apologizing, not him.
Well, we can agree to disagree. Turn to the table, the pedestal.
Yeah, when you get down there, Moira seems to have left, but Peony is waiting for you with a smile, and she says, hey, welcome back. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might still have, or simply direct you to your homes.
Do we have universal health care in this plane?
Well, considering you were effectively just cured of a curse, let's say yes, universal health care.
Perfect. Mail service is probably still funded down here?
Yeah, the postal system in the fugue plane is just stellar.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, really well-oiled machine.
Perfect. Good to know.
So, Peony sort of, cracks her knuckles and starts flipping through some pages in this giant book. And she says, it's Mira, right? Can you give me your family name? I'm sorry, I'm a bit scattered today.
It's Lothran.
Lothran. Thalia. Nope, Mira. There it is. It looks like the Beecher instance. It's a nice place. And she starts taking some notes on a small piece of paper.
Can you... The name you said before, what was that?
Oh, sorry, that was my bad. I'm really not supposed to,
Please, just...
She kind of looks at you for a moment, debating whether or not to push it. And finally, she just kind of steps aside, just enough to let you look at the book yourself. And you find just rows and rows of names. And right above yours is your sister Thalia's.
There's nothing to say.
Where yours has the city name Beecher next to it, hers says Contera.
Okay.
Whew. And Peony busies herself writing down the pertinent info about your new home for you. And she adds some directions to get there from here, and she hands you the slip of paper.
Well, I'm sorry, you've already shown a lot, but are we not all together?
Oh, it doesn't look like it. It's pretty common, actually, for even close family members to live in different instances. It's just kind of how it works. You get grouped together based on, who you are, internally, with similar people to you, That's not to say that you can't see each other whenever you like. Actually, she just says, we just have an incredible postal service here, too. It's kind of amazing, actually. So you can mail each other and things like that. But yeah, you can see each other anytime. It's just that this place sort of conforms to the people who arrive here. Once you left the material plane, space just started existing and was set aside specifically for you.
Do we need to know the address to contact someone, or does that just happen on its own?
Oh, for the post? No, just the person you want to contact. It'll sort of take care of itself. The whole thing is really well funded. Everyone buys lots of stamps and FPPS crop tops and shit.
Oh, it hurts so much in both fiction and real life.
No, she says, listen, you're going to, well, for lack of a better word, live a mostly normal life here. Nobody's going to stop you from reaching out to the people that you care about or people you've always wished you could talk to. I'm not saying that popular or famous people like Sir Richard Astley are going to necessarily respond to your message or anything, but, you have the option to send something to anyone if you really want.
Bless you.
When she says that, I turn to Kira and go, hey, isn't that great bard you always talk about?
I mentioned him once, but that's, I think that's him, yeah.
Are you, do you think you might reach out to him?
No, probably not. He's a normal person, just like the rest of us.
I mean, not even to say hey, loved your stuff.
No, that's okay. I'm sure he gets it a lot.
Fair enough.
I'll let him have peace in the afterlife.
Definitely going to send something to him in Kira's place.
Peony says, "Can I get names for the rest of you? I'll give you your info and directions."
I walk up and straighten my tie. Peck, Elwyn Peck.
Wait, pause. Tell me everything about this. I'm going to say baby bolo tie.
Oh, no, it's a very nice tie. It's not too long though. He's wearing like his little He's got like a nice button up with a vest on. And he's got a little tie under. It's a nice dark green tie.
All right, still good. Yeah. She says, Peck.
My name's not really in there. I'm not really dead.
Oh shit, you're not in here. We gotta get you back.
Kellenborg, back.
No, she finds it easily enough. She starts making some notes. And you see that she writes down Nyridge. And you remember that it's where that guy you stopped to talk to said he was from. and maybe you wonder why such an annoying, misinformed person also got put in the instance clearly for smart and important people. And she hands you the slip with the info on it and looks at the rest of the group.
While we're here, before I step back and let someone else step up and do this whole thing, in the material plane, is time moving at a similar pace, or how does this work?
Oh, that's a tricky one. So most mortals think time is always linear and fixed because that's how they experience it themselves, you know?
Yeah, uh-huh.
But time isn't linear. It's it's kind of gooey. So unfortunately, there's not like a one-to-one.
So let me put this in terms. If I wanted to recall my familiar to me, but I want to make sure I give them enough time to do the last thing that I asked them to do, is there any way for me to kind of be like, oop, it's been 2 hours since I've been dead, kind of thing?
Oh, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's not like an equation for that sort of a thing.
Okay, all right. I step back.
No, she's like, sorry, no, it's just that the two planes are moving at different rates, right? They experience time pretty differently. So, time doesn't go forward in the same way for both. And sometimes it doesn't go forward at all. It's
fine. No, you're good. I know you just don't know. It's totally okay. Cadmus, I think.
She kind of blinks, and then she shakes her head the tiniest bit, and under her breath, she's like, yep, Nyridge. Okay, who's next?
Cadmus Lightbringer.
Lightbringer, a strong name. And she starts flipping through the heavy pages again, and she kind of, here it is, Bladensburg. Nice.
That's a solid name for a town.
And a solid town to match. You'll love it. And then she gives you the slip with the directions, and she looks to Harp and Kira.
Harp walks up and puts her arm around the pedestal and says, I hope this is good. Is it mansion-ish? Like rich life? Real good living?
She says, it's Harp, right? Do you have a family name or?
Oh, it's just Harp. There's no last name.
Not a problem. And she flips to a section towards the front and quickly finds what she's looking for. And she says, oh, Orlando. No, I'm kidding. I would not do that to Harp for eternity.
That is the lower level of hell.
No, she says, there we go, Thornvale. And she starts writing down directions for you. And you realize that, on the page, directions aren't listed or anything. She just, knows these city instances and where each house is in them. Maybe she's been at this a long, long time. And as she writes, she says, I don't know about mansions, but I do think you'll enjoy it. And she hands you the slip. And then she points at Kira with a smile.
I hate I just picked her last name over this 20 minutes.
You can change it and nobody's heard it yet.
No, I picked it and I really like the sound of it. But after I picked it, I was like, shit, her last name's Dune.
Kira Dune.
Kira Dune. And after I did, I was like, fuck, it's Cara Dune. God damn it. But I really like the sound of it though, so that's her name.
You gotta keep it.
And she has not, like Mira, she has not said that name in years since she was since CAD happened. So since she was 5 years old, she's not said her last name.
Yeah, absolutely. So Peony flips through the big book and she finds your name and starts writing. And she says, oh, Ashgrove is beautiful and suits you. And she sort of, scribbles everything down, finishes writing, and hands you the slip. And she smiles warmly at all of you as you study your papers. And she says, I hope you like them, but then again, everyone does. Do let me know how it goes, though, and if there's anything I can do for you, okay?
Yeah, cool. Thanks, I guess.
Happy to help.
Yeah, all right. I guess we're on our way.
Okay. So, do we just go that way? Quick question before we go. Do we need to eat here? Do we still need to eat?
Oh, well, do you want to?
I mean, but do I need to? Do I need to eat? Or can we double die?
No, you can't double die in the city.
Okay. How do we buy things? Or is everything free? Is gold the standard down here? Do you have like Kellamvor bucks? Like,
yeah, we use a similar thing to what you're used to. They're called scales. They're like a flat octagonal coin. You'll see.
Is there a welcome packet? Do you have a welcome packet?
Are you trying to game free loot?
Okay, I'm gonna go home now. I'll see you guys later.
Do you leave? You like follow the directions?
I gotta go see this welcome packet now.
Do you guys want to view our homes and then meet up perhaps tomorrow or later? I don't even know what time of day it is, but...
Mm-hmm. I mean, we probably should go home, check out our welcome packets, and, I don't know, reconvene.
Yeah, sure.
What time is it, actually?
It's timey-wimey o'clock.
O'clock.
Yeah, I mean, the sky is giving you no indication of, like, a specific time of day. It's just that same rippling monochrome aurora as before, but you're not really sure if that implies day or night or neither.
Yeah, I guess just meet later after we've settled in and processed everything.
Everyone count to 360 5 times. Let's meet back at the... right over there. Does everyone see the shop over there? It's got the little flower on the front. There's like some nice desks, some chairs and tables outside. Do you all see that?
Is it like a flower, like a Starbucks?
I mean, the sign on it says flower. What is that? It's the flower tea shop. It's a stupid name if you ask me.
Do you want to lock that into canon?
So I say let's be safe. Let's meet right here at the steps of the spire, and we'll go from there.
That works too.
All right, sounds good to me.
Everyone's got everyone's address?
Yeah, we can just say you all swapped info already.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys next eternity, I guess.
This is the right after graduation when the high school friends go, yeah, we'll keep in touch. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And they don't see each other for 40 years.
Yeah.
So Mira's sitting at the top of the staircase and she's like reluctant to move her feet. And I'm just going to wait till everyone walks away and slightly panic because I'm alone again.
Yeah. And, you got some unexpected news about your family, too.
And I'm freaking out. And then once it's been too long, is when I'll start walking towards the house. But, like, reluctantly. Every footstep is difficult.
Yeah, I bet it is. I think most people would crumble under the weight that Mira is holding right now.
Yeah.
And as you walk down the steps, studying the instructions that Peony gave you, maybe you wonder if this feeling is something everyone who arrives here has to deal with. And you watch your party, your friends, your people, each start on their way somewhere else. And from your perspective, you watch them walking away from you down streets and busy paths, but then they sort of just shimmer out of existence in front of you, just like the passersby have been since you got here. And you grab your slip of paper, and you begin to follow your own directions, walking along the main thoroughfare as the city shifts and shimmers and transmutes around you, until the city you walked into is gone and a new one takes its place entirely. And it's surprisingly nice here. Quieter. Calmer. And it makes you wonder if hers is anything like yours. So I still have that city name generator pulled up from this afternoon, and another possible instance name was Intercourse. So
that's a real place.
Yeah, it is.
Wait.
It's a real town in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so we need to plan a group road trip like yesterday.